There's nothing in this world I hate more than fucking sneezing. Like, bro, swear to God. And, okay, I guarantee you, I sneeze differently than you. Okay, you watching this right now, I sneeze different than you. I sneeze more genuine than you. I'm more authentic than you. I'm a realer sneezer than you. Okay? And let me explain why. So, throughout my life, and you could say whatever the fuck you want about me and my state of being and my state of body and my state of health off of this information that I um, convey to you, but alright, bro. Listen, if you're a normal person, chances are, when you go to sneeze, right, you just, chew, and you sneeze in your elbow like the little bitch you are, okay? Nothing fucking comes out of your nose, okay? You sneezed for no reason, okay? Performative fucking sneezing. When I sneeze, bro, I'm a real fucking American. When I sneeze, I'm fucking snot and shit, bro. I'm expelling waste, okay? I got shit to get out, okay? I can't fucking sneeze in my elbow like you, the rest of you fuckers, okay? When the teacher would tell me, oh, sneeze into your elbow, that shit doesn't make any fucking sense. Why the fuck do I want my entire elbow covered in fucking snot? I don't understand. And I'll watch my friends, dude. I'll watch my lizard fucking friends. Maybe I'm the lizard. I can't tell if everyone else is the lizard or maybe I'm the lizard. But I'll watch my fucking friends. Too. And they'll sneeze. Their stupid fucking sneeze into their elbow. And like nothing came out of their nose. What the fuck are you sneezing for? If you don't have shit to get out of your nose. I don't fucking get it, dude. I don't just sneeze for no reason. If I'm sneezing, bro, shit is coming out. Like, I don't fucking get it, bro. I'm not just gonna randomly sneeze out of fucking nowhere for no reason. Nothing to expel. If I'm sneezing, fucking waste is leaving, bro. I digress. You know, similarly to the sneeze, like I said, there needs to be something to expel, which means there must have been something that entered. So I don't know what's entering these other fuckers' nose, but I know me, some sort of dust, some sort of molecular bullshit is entering my nostrils, and then I gotta chew that shit the fuck out. Similarly to life, life works rather similarly. Shit goes in and shit comes out, right? Input and output. Everything is fucking input and output. Excuse me while I start my automobile. But the interesting thing is, right? So when I was talking about that sneezing shit, my issue is me focusing on everyone else's output. Or at least me understanding that other people's output is different than mine. The way everyone else's output of the sneeze was different than mine, right? That was an issue for me. And so what I'm doing right there is I'm focusing on the output, right? So when it comes to life, that's exactly what you're not supposed to do. Because the output is the shit that you can't predict. You cannot predict it whatsoever. You can somewhat influence it, sure, right? Obviously, you can somewhat influence it, but it's not a fucking closed circuit where you're the only thing influencing it. Therefore, bro, a lot of times, all right, think about this, right? When I like the first time I was like kind of thinking about this concept, I was thinking about the fact that like sometimes you want to do something and you're like, oh, I got this good idea, right? But then you choose not to because of you're thinking of like whatever will happen, right? You're thinking, oh, what if it's not a good idea because this? What if it's not actually that smart because of this? What if these people say this? You're focusing on the output, right? But in a different way, you can intend to do something. Maybe even think that you're fucking up. Maybe even like purposely do some shit where you're fucking up, or like you're just kind of half-assing some shit, or whatever, right? And the output is again something you didn't expect because you can never like truly expect it. But this time, it's actually in your favor. This time, the output is something ideal. This time, the output is something that you wanted. So, In both scenarios, you didn't control the output. What you did not, like, one-to-one equal whatever output you were expecting. The first one, you're thinking, might be a good idea, but then, well, the first one we were technically said that you did nothing, but, like, imagine you do something with a good idea, and you're, like, really passionate about it, whatever, and then it ends up just, like, flopping and just doing nothing at all. And then the second scenario, you just half-ass some shit. You're just like, dude, fuck this, like, whatever, I'm just trying to get it over with, or whatever, like, I don't care about this. And then it ends up going really good. In both of those scenarios, your input was one thing, and then your output was different than what would naturally be expected. And so that's something that I've been thinking about recently, is, like, life is bullshit, bro. Like, life is gonna do a lot of fucked bullshit, weird things. And you just gotta remember that the only thing you have control over is your input. Case in fucking point. That's not how you use that phrase. A point blank period, that's what it is I meant to say. The only thing you really have control over is your input. What that allows you to do is it allows you to give yourself some grace, you know. It allows you to forgive yourself. It allows you to not take blame for shit that you shouldn't be taking blame for. It allows you to have some clarity in your direction. And it just simplifies things, dude. You'll come to realize that, like, simplifying shit does fucking wonders for, like, making your life easier and, like, making your directions easier. Not necessarily even easier, really. I mean, you can have a good idea on what you want to do. It doesn't mean that thing will be easy, but more that it'll just give you clarity. And clarity does make it easier. Clarity definitely does make things more digestible, more accessible to you. It's best to apply this to situations where you might blame yourself. Like, let's say for example you've been fucking up, right? Whatever it is in your life, I'm gonna try and be vague so that you can apply it to your life. Like, let's say you've been fucking up, bro. You know, you just haven't been really on your shit, just haven't been locked in, like, you haven't really been, you know, hitting too many goals, kind of just been living day by day, just how it is, you know what I'm saying? Let's say you consider that, like, fucking up, you know? Once you realize that, right, you say, okay, like, I've been fucking up. That's the output, right? So you know, based off your inputs, that now your output has got you in a place where you're like, damn, bitch, now I'm behind. Now you're trying to figure out your next step. You're trying to think, okay, well, I need to hit this goal, I need to fucking, you know, build this platform, I need to fucking study this, I need to attain this, I need to grab this, whatever it can be. Do not focus too much on, okay, for me to be productive, I need to do this. Or, like, what am I trying to say here? I gotta be specific with this. Like, what I mean by input and output is, your input is your immediate next step. Or, like, your overall input. Right? Like, your overall direction you're kind of going in. Right? If your goal is to just be more productive, that's an output. You know, if your goal is to, like, make money, that's an output. Now, like, specific goals, like, okay, I want to achieve 500 subscribers, let's say, right? That is technically an output up until the moment that that's my immediate next step, right? Like, there's no action I can take right now other than, like, buying subscribers, I guess. There's no action I can take right now that my immediate output will be achieve 500 subscribers. Therefore, that is not an output I will think about really at all. I'm not going to think about outputs really. Like, I have that as a goal. But because there's no immediate input that I can do to achieve that output, why the fuck am I thinking about that? The immediate output that I do have is, okay, how can I grow the channel today? How can I, you know, just, like, further it in any little way? That I have inputs for. I have, okay, well, I'm going to upload. I'm going to write a script. I'm going to change this thumbnail into something more appealing. I'm going to, whatever, right? Those have immediate inputs. Therefore, like I'm not focusing on the big goal. Obviously, have big goals. But if your big goals don't have an immediate input, then you cannot beat yourself up over, like, not knowing exactly what to achieve them. Like, you only know what you know. For more tougher situations, right? So let's say someone's mad at you. Let's say, like, your partner is mad at you or something, or, like, whatever. You guys are having problems. Your goal is to fix it. Your goal is to, like, just be happy again. Your goal is to, be able to talk smoothly again, right? That's relatively big. There's not any, that's a process, right? So there's no immediate input that will achieve that, right? Relatively. What you can do, though, what will actually absolutely start pushing the needle in that direction, though, is communication. Okay, let me, like, do that. Let me be present. Let me, prioritize them in this time that I usually haven't. Let me, obviously be careful with this, but let me, like, get something for them that they might need. Let me, whatever. Those are immediate inputs that it may not fix it just straight up right there, but the long-term goal is to fix it straight up right there. But what can you do? You can't do that just immediately. And so what can you do? You can focus on small goals. You can focus on pushing the needle towards what you want. This principle is, like, very simple, and it may seem like it's hard to apply it to complicated situations, but honestly it's not. Honestly, the more complicated of a situation you can apply it to, the stronger you'll be. But it's just a very, like, simple principle that just keeps you focused. It keeps you, like I said, it keeps you with clarity on what your next action is. Like, you may not have the entire blueprint of how you're going to achieve these goals, but you fucking can't anyway, dude. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying at the beginning, is that you can think you're on the right track with something and then actually be fucking up. Or it could just not be the right thing. Or it could just, whatever. But at the very least, you're pushing your needle in the direction of understanding more parameters of your situation, so that you have a higher chance of doing the right thing next time. So, like, that's what I'm saying with this, is just that, like, all you have is your inputs. You may think that, like, oh yeah, that output is what I caused, or, like, I was able to achieve that output. And, like, yeah, in a way, yeah, of course. But there's also so many other fucking variables that you really might as well not necessarily take responsibility for that. Take responsibility for all the inputs you can, right? So, and this applies to, imagine a situation where you feel like you don't really have any control. You're like, oh, like, I'm not really part of the situation. I'm too small in this situation to be able to do something. It's like, okay, well, like, fuck all that, dude. What can you actually do? What, like, actual tangible fucking thing can you do? Because I bet you there is. And this is why this principle is actually so powerful. Because this applies to things that you may think you have no control over. Your ability to know, your ability to believe that you have an input in the situation is how strong you are as a person. Right? Because a lot of people will see their output, right? They may not even know the input that they put in. They might just see their current situation, right? They see their output. And they're like, fuck, man, like, or, like, they see, a part of it, like, oh, like, whatever, like, my dad's this way, or, like, whatever, right? Or just, my house is this way, or my living situation is this way, or whatever, right? And they may just be, like, just looking around them and thinking all the things that, they can do, and they're just like, oh, there's nothing I can fucking do, right? That is an input in itself, right? So you just solidified in the fucking matrix that there is nothing you can do. That was an input in itself. And like I said again, your outputs aren't predictable. And so, like, that same person can run into a situation where they're actually able to fix it. But just on a basis fucking, like, thing, most people are not going to have that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sticking true to the fact that outputs are unpredictable in the sense that, couldn't get a good from a bad. But on a base level, you are fucking up. Your inputs are negative. Your inputs are not contributing to what you want. And like it can be just as powerful as it can be not. Remember, your outputs are not predictable, and so in the same way, it's like, oh, like my living situation is so shit, da 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 da, right? You may, or like, whatever. This relationship is unsavable. Whatever, right? Whatever it is. You may think like, oh, my input, I don't have an input, there's nothing I could do, right? But if you do have something to do, you do just do something small. You do just say like a couple words, or you make a call, or fucking just like literally whatever. I don't know, right? That shows effort. That shows a wantingness to improve. That shows like direction, And you do not know whether this will pay off or not. In the sense that it could very fucking well pay off. It really, really depends on how you're looking at it. It really, really depends on just how powerful of a mindset you have. Are you choosing the right input? Do you believe in yourself that you have an input? Do you believe in yourself that your input is powerful enough to make a change? These are all things that define how your living situation is. Like, what your financial situation is, what your relationship situation is with all these different people. Like, these are the choices. It's input and output. And I don't want to stray too much off this topic, but on the similar topic of input and output, your inputs compound. Like, I wanted to say something earlier about like, oh, like, if you show, when I said like effort, right, it shows effort. I was almost gonna get into a situation of like, you're telling the universe to like, blah blah, and the universe will respect you, and the karma, and da da da. Right? I don't want to get too woo woo, but it is absolutely true that your inputs compound, right? Your outputs somewhat compound as well, but your inputs compound stronger because you have more inputs. And what I mean by that is, so you, like I said earlier, what the fuck did I say? I said something about like you putting in an input, even in a situation where you may be unsure whether it's fucking worth it or what. You're still giving yourself another chance to understand more about your situation and therefore make a better choice next time, right? No fucking brainer. Should be. And that's kind of what I mean when I say compound effect. If you haven't read the book Compound Effect, I would highly, highly suggest it. I haven't actually finished the book yet, but I've been reading it like past like 2 weeks. Because I'm not just like, I don't just read a book in like one sitting. I read books like, I read like, 15, 20 minutes every morning, so. But I've been reading it, and you get the gist of the compound effect pretty early in the book. But basically, it's just the notion that everything compounds. That like if I if I start, I don't know, bro. Like, let's say I'm a mouth breather, bro, and I start like consciously breathing through my nose. And like every day I like try to fucking consciously breathe through my nose. In like a couple months' time, I will just be breathing through my nose automatically. The same way I was breathing through my mouth, automatically. I'll be breathing through my nose automatically, right? We depending on your age, you should know, compound interest and shit like that. But it's the same thing, right? If you put more money into one thing and it compounds, then you're gonna have a shit ton of money. And so that's kind of what I mean. So it's the same, like giving yourself grace, giving yourself some room for forgiveness of yourself. That like you don't fucking know everything. Like not everything you do is directly linked to. Like, okay, a big part of this whole input and output thing, is that your output is not congruent to your worth as a person, or how good of an action you did, right? And that can be very disheartening, but that comes into play when things go awry, which they will. If you claim your output so surely, like, whatever happens is my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault, right? That can be very strong. Everything is yin and yang, right? So that can be very strong, but that can also be incredibly disheartening, because a lot of people, especially in America, right? A lot of people work their fucking asses off, dude. People work their fucking dicks inside out. And, like, they're just kind of still in the same place, right? And again, there's a lot of factors to that, right? So I'm sure there's other places they could do more, whatever. But point being that, like, people, like, there are people out there that work their fucking ass off. And, you know, like, if quote unquote God was, like, super fair, like, they would have a better situation. You know, or there's like, you know, we all know, like, of, like, really nice people, really kind people that, like, die tragically or something. You know, this is what I mean by you can't control the output. Is you can do something incredibly good and not really get the right output. You can do something incredibly good and get the right output, get something better than you expected. You know, like, but all you fucking have is the present moment. All you fucking have is your input, right? When something bad happens, like, that just happens. You can't do anything about it. All you have is your input from then on. You know, and so that's all you fucking have to focus on. You know, and so that can be just as liberating as it can be, like, fucked. And it's just really up to you. Your decision, whether it's liberating or fucked, is also your input. And that mindset will compound. So if you view scary things as liberating, if you view uncomfortable situations as, like, something that will make you stronger, that compounds itself. That compounds. You know, you'll be stronger in the next situation, and you'll be stronger in the next situation, and you'll, you know, just have that leg up on people with weaker perspectives and people with weaker mindsets. You know, so I don't know exactly how long this video is going to be, but right now the recording is 27 minutes, so I'm going to try and edit this down. But yeah, if you enjoyed watching this, leave a like if you fucked with what I had to say. Dislike the video. Do not leave a comment. I don't want to hear what you want to say. Fuck you. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day. Oh, how I wanna learn.